International Men's Day to be observed.
Tourism sector to receive legislation.
House of Assembly delegation attends Youth Parliament in Trinidad.
Today we are live with Miss April Glasgow.
Hospitality executives found guilty in St. Thomas and Puerto Rico senator arrested. These and more stories when 284 News returns.
The Mighty Sparrow.
Chocolate City, Tortola's BVI. I'm coming to you. You ready? November 16, 2019. It's Tico's 50th anniversary and celebrating Tico Calypso. Hear me? A community Calypso fundraiser. I can't wait to see. It's gonna be fantastico.
Is business slow? Cash flow down? Hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media at cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
When you need to stay connected with friends and families at home or abroad, the best choice for you is Freedom. CCT Freedom. With the lowest rates in the market, our Freedom plan gives you unlimited calls and texting. Plus, our Freedom One package includes 10 gigabits of super fast unlimited LTE data and unlimited calls to the BVI, USA, USVI, Canada, Puerto Rico, and UK lines. Why pay for overages when you can enjoy CCT Freedom? Stop by at one of our stores today and speak with one of our representatives to find out more about our CCT Freedom packages.
Welcome everybody. It's Friday, November 15th, 2019. I'm Ron Grant.
And I am Javon Wilson.
Another jam-packed week, Jovan. We have reached to the end of our Culture Week celebrations in the Virgin Islands. It's been a really fun and exciting week of activities, especially today.
Especially in the schools as well.
Yes.
I've been really mesmerized by, the programs that the schools have put on throughout the British Virgin Islands. Just today, Flax, we had our representative, of course, beautiful Miss Kyla Forbes at the Brigado Flax Educational Center, the primary and secondary division. And so all the schools really did a remarkable job.
Yeah.
And we had the Ministry of Education and Culture right here at CCT serenading us on our potluck day so that we do annually right here at CCT.
Good stuff.
To celebrate local culture. So really, really good happenings this week.
Yes. Well, closing out our week today at the top of our newscast, a male empowerment session is scheduled for men and boys on November 19th, 2019 to mark the first observance of the International Men's Day in the territory of the Virgin Islands. The event is being spearheaded in collaboration with the Office of Gender Affairs and Human Resources Department under the theme Men Leading by Example, Making a Difference for Boys. It will take place at the Youth and Affairs Sports Conference and will set the stage at 9 a.m. Gender Affairs Coordinator Ms. Tara Sue Morgan stated the purpose of the sessions will be to provide additional support to men and boys in an effort to create positive role models in the Virgin Islands communities. She said it is hoped that it will provide them with better life chances by addressing some of the issues that will affect them. Men and boys are important to society's development and therefore we need to empower them for a better future, said Ms. Morgan. The session will be facilitated by Dr. Albert Tompkins, Dr. Robert Storm, and Mr. John Gilbert from St. Croix. All men and boys across the territory are invited to attend. For more information on the male empowerment session, interested persons can contact the Office of Gender Affairs at 468-3415 or 468-2236. International Men's Day is celebrated annually on November 19th to reinforce positive male imagery and support values that bring societies, communities, and their families together. The Ministry of Health and Social Development aspires to provide a caring and integrated system of health and social services that will facilitate human development and quality of life in the British Virgin Islands. Well overdue.
Well overdue indeed, Ron. And yes, that representation really matters. I think for a long time we've been hearing women empowerment, and rightfully so. As women, we've been constricted to fit into a certain mold for so many years. So I really do appreciate that revolution. However, I don't think it should be at the expense
of our boys and our men, and
Absolutely.
I don't think we should in any way neglect them. I think your opinions matter. I think they should not be dismissed. I think your emotions matter as well.
Well,
and
thank
so,
you, Queen.
Yeah,
Thank you
absolutely.
for
We
that.
love you, and we love all,
appreciate that.
the boys and the men as well.
Indeed.
And so it's about creating a balance, and I'm really happy to see this representation. I mean, I think Mail does a remarkable job.
Yes, they do.
And I'm really happy to see the Office of the Gender Affairs
Stepping up as well.
stepping up and doing their part as well. Moving right along, the local tourism industry, a sector that we've thrived off of for many years, standing as one of our main twin pillars and accounting for a significant amount of our national revenue, is finally set to receive legislative support. Of course, the support that it needs. Coming out of a speech from the throne yesterday, the governor laid out the government's legislative agenda for the industry. Listening.
On an immediate priority basis, our government will give the tourism sector the attention and level of priority it deserves and focus on strengthening the accommodation sector, bringing new hotel investment and supporting the marine sector. Our government will place special focus on different pieces of tourism legislation to ensure that the Virgin Islands remain on the bleeding edge, with tourism being a strong pillar. Our government will introduce the Airbnb tax legislation and yachting aid legislation to ensure the development of the local tourism product. Tourism development also means investing in the infrastructure locally and recognising the Film Commission as a vibrant investment centre that can boost revenue. There will be the introduction of the Regulation for the Tourism Act, which will include, but not limited to, the anti-visitor harassment and solicitation legislation. The efforts will be buttressed with the National Tourism Strategic Plan to bring more legislative and regulatory structure to the territory. The structure will include the establishment of stronger linkages and involvement of all sectors within the territory to ensure one tourism mandate. Our government.
So really great news for the industry, Ron. A few key things coming out from that speech. Firstly, I don't think any industry can really thrive or be taken seriously without the necessary structure and supportive mechanisms in place to solidify it. And for years, we've undervalued the prospects of the tourism industry. We've placed a lot of emphasis and a lot of support on financial services. And yes, that did account for a big chunk of the economic revenue. But tourism really supported the economy for a very long time.
And I think it somewhat suffered in a sense because we paid so much attention to the financial services industry. So it's really good to see some focus and some direction being put into the right places.
Absolutely. I think the BVI is a remarkable, pristine destination that tourists are
No
paying
doubt.
top dollars to come to. But we can all agree that for years, like we said, it didn't receive the nurturing and the investment that was required. So finally, it's coming into fruition with the help of some of these acts. The Airbnb Act specifically will make a significant difference because while, yes, future hotel investments were proposed by the governor and, of course, the government, that in itself would definitely take some time. So in the meantime, we want to alternate with, we need alternate accommodation, I should say.
Yes.
And I think a lot of persons in the British Virgin Islands are fortunate to have really nice homes. I mean, we're still in the process of rebuilding, but a lot of persons can really benefit from this, and this is an opportunity as well to see that money trickle down to each and every person once the opportunity arises.
I agree.
Besides from the Airbnb, besides from the facts that we mentioned, I should say it's also affordable, it's personal, and it's also very private, and I think that is the element persons most look forward to. The governor also mentioned the anti-visitor harassment and solicitation legislation, and this is a really big deal because while, yes, we're looking to solicit their top dollars, we equally have a responsibility to protect their rights. Now, Ron, I don't know if you recall a situation just recently with a tourist, I think, or somebody posting to, I think, the Real BVI Community Board, speaking about a tourist experience going, I think, from the Pier Park to Red Cross and having to pay $25 for a taxi. And that is exploitation. And so we have to put mechanisms like these in place to ensure that we're protecting
and
their
we're
rights.
not sending mixed messages.
Right. And then, you know, I mean, this is not just the BVI, this is in the Caribbean region, period. You know, we hear that accent and automatically we hear cha-ching,
yes.
ching. So we really want to make sure that, you know, we're protecting their rights. But when we think about the ultimate objective of the industry and what we want it to look like as a cutting edge destination, I'm just really proud that it's, like I said, finally getting the help that it needs to sustain us over the years to come. And I'm very sure the Tourist Board must be happy about this as well.
We'll be appreciative of that too.
All right, viewers, still ahead, we are live with Miss April Glasgow, who's back with all the details from her UK trip. And the House of Assembly delegation attends Youth Parliament in Trinidad and Tobago. These and more stories when 284 News returns.
Everyone looks to the future, but no one truly knows what the future holds.
The number of people under the age of 20 with type 2 diabetes could increase by 49% by 2050. Let it be known that we all have a 30% chance of developing hypertension.
Globally, more than 300 million people of all ages suffer from depression.
More than 60,000 young adults aged 20 to 39 are diagnosed with cancer each year. Obesity leads to problems such as stroke, heart disease, and kidney failure.
No matter your race, age, or color, we are all at risk.
These diseases can be managed or prevented if caught early.
But with the right medicine and the right doctors to keep us on a path to live a robust and healthy life,
we will live well.
Viewers, welcome back. The House of Assembly of the Virgin Islands was invited by the Speaker of the House of Representatives of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honorable Bridget Mary George, to observe its 17th National Youth Parliament. Leading the Assembly delegation from the Virgin Islands to November 10th to the 13th, 2019 was the Honorable Speaker of the House of Assembly here in the Virgin Islands, the Honorable Julian Willock, Junior Minister of Trade and Economic Development and Territorial Member, Honorable Sherry B. De Castro, and the Honorable Melvin Mitch Turnbull, Member for the 2nd District. The Trinidad and Tobago Youth Parliament debate took place on Monday, 11th of November, 2019, where young parliamentarians debated the topics: should parents and guardians be made responsible for the behaviors of their children engaging online? Members came away with new information of a model youth parliament, and according to the Honorable Willock, he said, "We are ready now to launch the continuation of our youth parliament in the territory." In September of this year, Premier and Minister of Finance, the Honorable Andrew A. Foy, announced via a statement in the House of Assembly that he had moved the youth parliament from under the ministry and placed it under the House of Assembly. An ad hoc committee of elected members, chaired by the Speaker, was set up to carry out the mandate. Under the new structure, each of the 13 elected members of the House of Assembly, along with the Speaker, will be able to nominate 2 persons to serve on the local youth parliament. Honorable Willock, along with the Honorable De Castro and Turnbull, thanked the House Speaker, the Senate President, and the Clerk of Trinidad and Tobago for their hospitality and the much-needed information shared. Now, as promised, viewers, a very special guest, Miss April Glasgow, is in studio to talk about a very special trip that she just concluded. Jovan, take it away.
Thank you so much, Ron. As promised, we have the beautiful Miss April Glasgow in studio. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, April, so you are the first ever British Overseas Territory citizen to attend the UK's Foreign and Commonwealth Office International Leadership Program. First of all, before we get into the juice of things, what was that opportunity like, just finding out that you will be the first representative, not just for the BVI, but you're the first representative for the British Overseas Territories? That's a big deal.
Yeah, you know, every time you say it, it puts a little more burden on me. It's like, you know, the first time the governor just went
right.
I was like, oh my gosh.
It is a big deal. I mean, it is.
Yeah, it feels great to have the opportunity, but at the same time, I do know that it comes with a certain responsibility, you know. So I think that my responsibility right now is to bring back the goodies to the people of the BVI in terms of what I've learned, and also to encourage persons to nominate persons for the next bout. So it happens twice a year, and I chose the one in November to avoid so much of the cold.
All right.
Yeah.
So you were essentially networking with emerging leaders from across the globe.
17 countries.
Wow.
17
so
countries.
I could just imagine just how explosive that was, just networking, exchanging information, culture, and all of that. So just tell us, what are some of the key takeaways you would say you had from the experience?
First takeaway, that while I didn't see the entire Britain, because Britain is huge. It's like, we really are very small in comparison. But what I learned is that there's so much more to the world, and it was so important for me as a British overseas territory citizen to see what being British really means. So I would call it like a cultural immersion. Second takeaway is that there's so much to learn. There's so much to learn about different people, places, cultures. Being around 17 delegates, plus me would be 18, with 17 representatives from different countries from all over the world. I realized I'm talking to them, and certain expressions, even how I held my hands, meant different things. And I was like, really? And they're like, yeah, what do you mean? So just, yes, cultural immersion. And then in terms of just broadening your horizons, it helped me to put a lot more things in perspective in terms of where I want to go and where the world is going. The world is flattening, because we're global now. Everyone is within reach. And right now I have friends in places like Accra and Cameroon and South Sudan and Estonia. Because that's the way of the world. That's where we're heading. So those are my takeaways.
Awesome. So I know you spoke proudly on the other cultures. How did your other, the persons you networked with, how did they receive your dose of BVI?
I think that there's a lot of similarities between BVI and Britain, go figure, just in terms of how things are done. And I would say that there is a certain conservative nature to BVI. That's not a bad thing. When we say conservative, it's like, oh, you're saying that we're prudes. Not necessarily, but that there's just a certain way that the British carry themselves, and I see a lot of that in BVI culture. And of course, in terms of our government and how it's set up, the structure and what have you, is very similar. So when they were immersed in the British culture, they were like, we don't understand this and such and such. I was like, yeah, but this is how it is back home for me, so it's not that different. Because when we went to Parliament, they were like, wow, and there's 56 bishops in Parliament. I was like, yeah. And they're like, that doesn't make sense. You should separate church and state. I was like, that's not how it goes in other parts of the world. And in BVI, that's something. And I explained to them that even how we start our House of Assembly sessions would be with a prayer. And one of them looked at me like, really? Like they were shocked. And I was like, this is so amazing. I feel like I'm a teacher right now. That was pretty cool.
And you were teaching. I think with the BVI being a British overseas territory, and the UK being the mother body, and all the things that are happening in between, especially the things on the international scene, it's really important that we connect, because sometimes you feel like there is a bridge, there's a gap.
Oh yeah,
and that connection is very important.
And even speaking with our reps from the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, certain things that I was able to be very honest about in terms of just how the relationship looks on the ground in BVI.
From your perspective.
Yeah, from my perspective. I'm not representing government or any official organization, just me as a citizen. And they were like, wow, we didn't know it. And then even in terms of Brexit and what that means for us, again, it's stuff that they wouldn't have thought about how it may impact us here. Not that FCO has any... not that that's their remit, but that, they just didn't know a lot of things. So that was pretty cool too.
Yes, the communication is important. All right, I know you mentioned that you will be choosing your next successor. Do you have anyone in mind?
No, I don't choose. No, it's open nominations actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I think when people saw that I was going, they thought that it was like someone called me like, April, you're going. No, it's a nomination process. And I was actually nominated by Dr. Alison Flax Archer because me and Dr. Archer worked closely together when I was at the Ministry of Education and Culture.
Okay.
So when the nomination announcement came through, she thought of me. God bless you, Dr. Archer, for that. But that it's an open call, and it goes out to the OTs as well. and you're chosen from the ILP, the International Leadership Program, there's like a nominations committee. So not here, not based here. So it's like it's a process that you have to go through in order to be selected.
Awesome.
But now that I know what it is, of course, I'm gonna submit some names myself. If I'm allowed to submit more than one, I will do that.
And that also means that you're very blessed, and a lot of people love and respect you. So congratulations on this opportunity, and I wish you all the best in the future.
Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome. Viewers, we have a lot more news coming your way after this commercial break.
When you need to stay connected with friends and families at home or abroad, the best choice for you is Freedom. CCT Freedom. With the lowest rates in the market, our Freedom plan gives you unlimited calls and texting. Plus, our Freedom One package includes 10 gigabits of super fast, unlimited LTE data and unlimited calls to the BVI, USA, USVI, Canada, Puerto Rico, and UK lines. Why pay for overages when you can enjoy CCT Freedom? Stop by at one of our stores today and speak with one of our representatives to find out more about our CCT Freedom packages.
Welcome back, viewers. You're watching 284 News. Now, a decade after the misdeeds, unpunished three former Snyder Regional Medical Center executives were yesterday. I'm sorry, we're having some technical difficulties, viewers. Just pardon us for a second.
Not a problem.
It happens in the real world. We're having some technical difficulties. Just a second, viewers. Yes. We're going to go to a commercial break and come right back.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.
Brilliant Hands and Minds tutoring services, one-on-one tutorials in math and English, intense homework assistance, academic enrichment, school projects, effective communication and public speaking development, sign language for adults and children on Saturdays only. Registered with the Virgin Islands High School Certificate Program, Brilliant Hands and Minds can help you too. Offering intense curriculum-based training to help you or your loved ones get their high school diploma. It's time to make your family's education a #1 priority. Hurry, space is limited. Brilliant Hands and Minds Learning Center. We are the trained education professionals.
Thank you so much for your patience, viewers. Of course, we had a few technical difficulties, but we're back and ready to go. Big news in St. Thomas. A decade after their misdeeds were uncovered and unpunished, 3 former Snyder Regional Medical Center executives were yesterday convicted of swindling the hospital millions of dollars of public funds in order to pad their personal bank accounts. Mr. Rodney Miller, Mr. Peter Najwicks, and Amos Carty were all found guilty of a combined 44 counts of embezzlement, fraud, grand larceny, violations of the Criminally Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, and other charges by Superior Court Judge Mr. Michael Dunson. Now, this is quite contrary to their realities 8 years ago. During that first trial in 2011, jurors could not agree on their guilt, but this time around, Attorney General Ms. Denise George praised the efforts of jurors and the prosecution team. The verdict, guilty on every count.
Wow.
In the 7th amended information, the charging document used in this criminal case. Jurors ignored arguments from the defense that the hospital board gave Melody authority to grant raises, bonuses, and stipends to Carty and Najwicks, his 2 top lieutenants in running day-to-day operations at the Royal Leicester Schneider Hospital. Defense attorneys also argued that the hospital board granted lavish compensation to the 3 in appreciation for their achieving long-desired goals and improving morale, cleanliness and patient services. The men are required to attend a forfeiture hearing on November 21st, and sentencing will be handed down on December 13th.
Huge story coming out of St.
In St. Thomas. I know a lot of persons were following this for quite a number of years. Like we mentioned initially, they were tried 8 years ago, but of course jurors at the time thought they were not guilty, and of course those charges were released. But here again we see
it's back up.
It's back up, new evidence, and of course I'm sure it really took a lot, because this is a very long time. This is over a decade when you think about it, and I know this one has been really rocking the waves in St. Thomas.
Indeed. Well, speaking of corruption, not only in the Virgin Islands are we, struggling with the issue of accountability, but over in Puerto Rico, the U.S. Federal Bureau of Investigation arrested a Puerto Rico senator from the island's ruling New Progressive Party for a second time, along with 7 others in the latest corruption-related crackdown in the U.S. territory. Abel Nazaro, who represents an at-large district in Puerto Rico's Senate and previously served as mayor of the southern town of Uarco, had previously been arrested in September of 2018 and charged with alleged payroll irregularities during the 2001 to 2017 tenure as Uarco's mayor. A local Puerto Rico publication reported that the new arrest focused on the granting of contracts and payments to contractors who then undertook no work. FBI spokesperson Limary Cruz Ribora said that the San Juan office could confirm that 8 people were arrested without indecent early Wednesday in different parts of the island, and that the U.S. Attorney in Puerto Rico would issue a press release later with more details. Puerto Rico's Senate President Thomas Rivera Shanch, like Nazaro's a member of the New Progressive Party. He asked Nazaro to resign in a statement, saying that while he recognized the presumption of innocence, Nazaro should give up his seat and devote all his efforts to the situation he faces in court. Puerto Rico's political class has faced a set of corruption scandals over the last year. Last week, Puerto Rico's Department of Natural and Environmental Resources Secretary Tanya Vasquez Rivera resigned after stating that her office had been visited by FBI agents and served with a subpoena for documents. As well, in July, the island's former Secretary of Education and former chief of its health insurance administration were indicted, along with the head of an accounting firm and 3 others. They face allegations of theft, money laundering, and wire fraud. Last month, 2 Federal Emergency Management Agency officials were oversaw and the reconstruction of Puerto Rico's electric grid, and the former president of Cabra Acquisitions were also arrested on fraud and conspiracy charges. A lot of arrests, Jovan, as it pertains to accountability in the Caribbean region, but we now see another U.S. territory facing quite a myriad of challenges as it pertains to government officials and public funds. So it's not an issue that is unique to the Virgin Islands. We're struggling with it all over the region.
Definitely. Corruption crackdown is the deal of the day.
Yeah, I wonder when they're going to crack down on some of that corruption in the BVI.
In the BVI?
Sorry, guys.
Well, we've heard a lot of allegations and, you're innocent until proven guilty. So we'll just have to wait and see how that unravels. But I think the biggest one we're looking forward to is Mr. Trump. So let's see how that impeachment inquiry goes.
I think you have a little thing for Trump. Definitely.
Oh, me?
Yeah, definitely.
Because I'm always reporting on Trump?
Yes, definitely.
Listen, Trump needs to be impeached immediately. But anyways, viewers, that is it for today's News Roundup. Be sure to like us on Facebook at 284 Media, as well as 284 BVI, on Instagram as well as Twitter. I'm Javon Wilson.
And I'm Ron Grant. We'll see you again on Monday morning, bright and early, as we deliver your daily dose of local, regional, and international content. 284 News, your source for honest and impartial news. Happy Friday, everybody. Have a great week, and thank you for sticking with us.
Yes.
Every 39 minutes, someone is killed by a drunk driver. Every minute, someone is injured by a drunk driver. 8 teenagers die every day in alcoholic-related car crashes. Motorcycle drivers comprise the highest percentage of drunk drivers in fatal crashes. The highest percentage of drunk drivers involved in a fatal crash are ages 18 to 24. Alcohol affects your reaction time, vision, tracking, concentration, comprehension, and coordination. Remember, when you drink and drive, you put the health and safety of yourself and others at risk. Select a designated driver, carpool, hang out in groups, don't leave your friends behind, and know your limit. 284 Media is concerned about the well-being of all and wishes everyone safety as we traverse the roads. Celebrate in style, but please don't drink and drive.